Hello, all. My name is Daniel Diaz. Welcome to Let's Talk Wrestling. And to begin, I just want to real quickly just give a brief introduction of the Outfox Studios, produced by John. John is actually helping us with that as well. And the Skull, I can't. It's horrible. I can't remember the name on top of my head right now, but I know it's Skull Production.
Pine Skull
Production.
Project.
Thank you, John. So we've got Pine Skull Productions and Fox Studios who are producing Let's Talk Wrestling. And we are going to be focusing mostly on AEW, but we also know that wrestling is a big community. And so we'll be talking about some other independent labels as well, in addition to some WWE, of course. You can't talk about AEW, unfortunately, without talking about WWE. You just have to go into it. It's just no way around it. So we'll talk about some WWE, some items, some news and rumors going on there as well. And again, to introduce myself, I do like to call myself the moniker of the Professor. I know a little bit about wrestling history, and I enjoy wrestling very much. I've grown up watching it my whole life. I did actually go to wrestling school as well, try to learn a little bit about it, but it was just too physical for me. It's definitely not my thing. So when people say wrestling is fake, I mean, to an extent, the storylines are, but the physicality in the ring, jumping off of a ladder, when you fall on the floor and you jump off a ladder, you're going to feel it anyway. So it is what it is. It's a combination of physicality and storyline, and which is great. It's entertainment ultimately, and it distracts us hopefully from that pandemic going on. And AEW has been great with that, especially lately. So we definitely have a lot of news to share. We're coming off of the big pay-per-view on Sunday. And I also have Sharonica, who's on the line. Sharonica, would you like to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, my name is Sharonica, big AEW fan. I will have to say I was one of the Daily's Place OGs. I went to most of the pandemic shows in Daily's Place. I lived close, so we were able to get there. Now that they're back on tour, I'm really sad because I can't follow them around the country as much as I would love to. I would have loved to be there for the CM Punk pop and the Daniel Bryan pop or the Bryan Danielson pop. Um, but I love AEW. I collect my figures. I've done many a meet and greets with them whenever we were at dailies, and AEW is my family.
And we can actually see all those figurines in the background. So that's pretty cool that you've been able to collect
Yeah.
those figures.
And my poster, remember my poster, Daniel?
Yep,
In
yep. I
Circle Squad.
So Sharonica and I also run the AEW Fanatics fan page, so I wanted to plug that in there too, on Facebook. So you can check us out, AEW Fanatics on Facebook
And on Insta.
and on Instagram. Yep, and I think I'm not sure if you got the Twitter up and running.
Twitter. I didn't get a AEW Fanatics Twitter, but I have my own personal one, and anybody's more than welcome to come and follow.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that. All right, so just to get into this, let's go ahead and I guess jump into the pay-per-view All Out on Sunday night. And just to pull up some of the results here, Sharonica, what sticks out to you as far as how this pay per view went, how you felt about it overall?
Well, I was very, very shocked that they give Eddie and Miro first match. Like, usually the opener is a banger, which it was. I was screaming for Eddie, wanting Eddie to win. Miro has turned into a big bully, messing with Fuego. Fuego's my number one. And when he ripped that mask off of Fuego a couple weeks ago, I'm done with Miro. So I was all for Eddie, and Eddie, to get that reaction for Eddie Kingston because of the fact that he was independent and then he was at Daly's Place during the pandemic all them times, and to have a full crowd like that give him that reaction really made me cry.
Mm.
So I was good with that. I mean, shocked that they give it to Eddie, which is usually Mox or Jericho or something like that. But what stole the show for me was the Lucha Brothers.
Mm.
That steel cage match is going to be, if Meltzer does not give that match of the year, something's wrong with Dave Meltzer.
Well, I think we all agree that something's always wrong with Dave Meltzer,
Yeah.
right? He's a bad rep among the community, but he tries, but it's still his opinion ultimately, and so that's what a
Yeah.
lot of people think is that they just don't agree with his opinion, which is fine. It is what it is. Just watch the show, enjoy it. That's what I do.
My personal opinion, match of the year, Lucha Brothers, even though it was Young Bucks. I have a distaste for the Young Bucks lately with their heel. When I was there live when they turned on Moxley, and that right there was just, oh my, no, I was not prepared for that. And I had to sit back down in my seat and cry because I was not prepared for them to turn on them. I thought it was coming and I had it in my head a little bit. So, but I still didn't take that very well.
Well, the Lucha Brothers, I tell you, this is like their year. Like they are really, and you think I thought last year was going to be their year, and now that they have the titles, this is really going to be their year. So I'm really proud of them. I'm really glad to see their journey. Kind of sucks with other tag teams not being able to probably get the title for a while because they're gonna. I see them holding it for about a year, maybe two, which might be bad for some of these other tag teams out there. The new guys coming in, they're gonna, they're not they might not have a good chance at getting the titles because they're so good. The Lucha Brothers are just so good.
And
I don't.
that's, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just don't see any real contenders at this point, and they really shouldn't anyway. I think the focus should be on them. I think this is their time. Let them enjoy it. Let them bask in the limelight. Let them prove themselves and make their mark in the Hall of Fame.
And like we say with our Dynamite Download family, AEW likes to stretch it out. So therefore, I think the Lucha Brothers are going to end up with a long title run. They don't change titles every week or every other week. Our titles are with somebody, and for a while, the Bucks had it for 300 and something days.
Too long.
And yeah, way too long. But I would love to see the Lucha Brothers ultimately have it the longest because they deserve it. Even when they did the media scrum after All Out the other night, Penta didn't even clean off that belt. He still had his blood on that belt. When
Wow.
they did all the after pictures, he still had all that blood on his belt. They had changed their masks and stuff because the Bucks ripped Phoenix's mask and all that, and cleaned themselves up for the media scrum and pictures afterwards. But that belt, he still had the blood on that belt, and he said that was his blood, sweat, and tears, and everything he's ever worked for in his life meant the world to him that night.
That's
And
amazing.
then seeing him with his family, his kids coming, that was just heartfelt moment. And AEW gives us the heartfelt moments like that.
Yeah, I kind of wish the WWE did a little bit more of those, pulling at the strings kind of thing. They did a little bit, I think, recently with like the Mysterios, with Dominic Mysterio showing up, and finally, I mean, he's been wrestling for a long time. I don't understand why it took this long to get Dominic Mysterio into the limelight. He's the son of Rey Mysterio, so
Yeah.
he's got it made, and he's got talent. He's got it all. But they just took so long to get the ball rolling on him, and you have the story. It's a father and a son, the mentor's there, so
Yeah.
everything there. I don't understand why other companies don't take advantage of the opportunity to really put in the familiar family ties into these stories when they're already there. It writes itself.
And they
And
just keep burying Dominic for some reason. And I'm like, this poor kid, he's trying and he's wanting to build up, his career. But you got to start somewhere. And we all have seen with our own two eyes how Vince is, so
Mhm.
maybe it'll get better for him.
Hopefully. And what about that CM Punk and Darby Allin match? What did you think of that? That was pretty exciting. It's a little slow in some parts. It could have been a little faster paced, but it's Punk. Let him take his time to get his time, get his ring rust out or whatever. Even though he doesn't have any ring rust.
Yes.
So that.
I'm I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch WWE when Punk was on WWE. So
Mhm.
he gets a clean slate with me now
Okay.
on AW because it's just and his first match that I've seen with my own two eyes personally was phenomenal. When Darby went to hit the coffin drop and CM Punk just set up and
And
laughed,
yeah, that
I
was
was
so
like, he went, no, 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 kid. And I'm like, this is amazing. Let's go CM Punk. You know, I'm not on the Darby train like others. I just, I don't know. I like Darby. I will. I do. But
yeah. I don't see him as a world champion per se, but he's definitely a breakout star of the company. He's
yeah,
definitely making sales, merchandise. I love the face paint. Kids come in with the face paint on. You see it on TV. It looks really amazing. He's a really good. I don't see him again. I don't see him as a world champion, but as a breakout star, definitely.
and the kid is willing to kill himself for these matches. I mean,
Jump out of planes. Are you crazy? Jumping out of
yes,
nope.
are dragging in body bags and stuff. So I mean, that's something that the wrestling world is not used to. So it's like, hey, here's Darby Allin, and hats off to him. I give him all the props in the world, but he's not my number one favorite. You know?
Right. Well, it helps having Sting in the background too. I think having Sting as the mentor there really legitimizes him, and having the stamp of approval from Sting. I mean, the veteran of the business
Yeah.
who's been around, seen it all, done it all, been everywhere, Hall of Famer, and to have that approval from him is amazing.
Yes, and when he had that match with Sting at Double or Nothing, there might have
Hmm.
only been 5,200 people in Daly's place, but when Sting got on those poker chips and jumped off those poker chips on top of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, that place went nuts because Sting was back and the "You Still Got It" chants, and that just warmed my heart. I would love to see Sting. I was there when he debuted. Winter is coming, and we were waiting, 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 and we got him in a match in Double or Nothing, and it was amazing.
It was, and I've followed CM Punk a lot. I've actually watched him when he started in Ring of Honor many years ago. So I've seen him. I've seen his evolution from the beginning, and then going to Impact TNA, where he actually was with Raven. He wrestled under Raven for a little bit there. So he really has a really amazing career. And Raven, by the way, is one of my favorites of all time. I love Raven. I don't know if you know him, if you're familiar with Raven.
I'm
Um,
not. I will.
Google him. He's amazing. His promos. I mean, a lot of people probably base their characters. Even CM Punk kind of bases a little bit of himself off of Raven. If you see his promos and see him in ring, you'll see a little bit of CM Punk in there too. Um,
Okay.
so I love Punk for that reason, and just seeing him and seeing him come back was really 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 incredible. Some people are like, whatever, he's coming out. You know, you hear the da 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 the music.
That's the personality. Yes.
The personality, you hear that play and you just go crazy. But some people get tired of it, as he's mentioned it. You know, I come out here, I have the microphone, you hear my music, whatever. You're tired of it, I get it, but I'm having fun. So I love that because Vince McMahon would have never let him do any of that in a million years.
Yeah. And the other thing that it wasn't included with All Out, but the speech that Brian Danielson gave afterwards. I'm not sure if y'all watched it yet. It's been on YouTube and everywhere. He he nailed it. He said there's three reasons why he come back to wrestling. Number one is because of the incredible talent. He listed Jericho, Mox, and then he gave the younger ones like Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Darby all the props. Like this is going to be a fun place to work. And then he said number two reason why he come back was because we are the best fans in the world. Point blank. He said, we are the best fans in the world. And then his number 3 reason that he gave that he came back or came to AEW is because he loves wrestling. It is not sports entertainment, it is wrestling. He took wrestling with him all over the world, and now he's back here in AEW to wrestle. And I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. And Daniel Bryan goes back to the times of Ring of Honor where CM Punk, they kind of were neck and neck. I don't want to say they started out at the same time, but they were around the same time in Ring of Honor. It was Tyler Black, who's now known as Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, it was Daniel Bryan, it was CM Punk. I mean, all these guys. So it's really incredible to see kind of like the evolution of how this has come around. Even the Young Bucks spent a lot of time in Ring of Honor. Um, most of the roster has been in Ring of Honor. I know you're not crazy about that.
No, I just love that I think it was Ring of Honor where the Bucks killed Adam Cole, and now Adam Cole's back.
Yep, they resurrected him or something like that. It did a
Yeah, they did a big seance.
I was like, oh man, that's too much. That's too much.
But Bryan Danielson, his last thing he said at the end of sending everybody home, he says, everybody around here claims that they're elite. I'm here to see if they're elite.
Mm.
Because elite means top. Everybody here claims that they're all elite. He's here to see if they are. Now, I was always the yes movement. I've been chanting yes, yes, yes for 3 weeks now, because I don't know if everybody realized, but as in when CM Punk come, he had initials on his shoes.
Mm-hmm. I had seen pictures of that.
He put AC on his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
He put a BD on his shoes. He put he also put a CF on his shoes. Now that threw us all off because Charlotte is clearly in WWE. Because who else would be CF but Charlotte Flair? But when he put the BD on his shoes, and I noticed that and seen all the pictures and everything, I've been doing the yes, yes. But he did say, Danielson also said he was in the media scrum that he wasn't sure what he could use yet from the, like, if it's the yes movement or whatever. That's why he never said it, because he's got to still iron out what he can use from WWE or what he can't, what he can or can't use. And by the sound of it, in his speech at the end, plus at the media scrum, him and Vince still have a great relationship. So he's not trying to hurt or harm or take anything that, the fans, you can't stop the fans, but he didn't do it himself,
He's very careful about it. Smart guy. Very smart guy. Give him that.
He did say, though, in the media scrum that Brie was very happy where she was. She had a lot of different things that she's doing and was able to do through WWE. So she probably stayed right where she's at. Because somebody asked, do you see Brie and Nikki coming now? And he said no, that they have so many different ties because they did the wine, they did the Total Divas, the Total Bellas, and all that. And all that's through WWE. So I don't see them cutting all their ties and coming to AEW like that,
Maybe in a few years. Definitely not anytime. We're more likely to see AJ Lee, but we won't see her either.
CM Punk shut that down too. He said his wife has a bad neck and she is not wrestling anymore.
But it doesn't mean she can't come back as a commentator, back producer. Yeah. There's many jobs available for her.
When he said that publicly. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, same thing with Renee Paquette, Renee.
Mm-hmm.
Moxie's wife, same thing with her.
Yeah. When CM Punk said that about AJ, the world bit back immediately, like, she could be your manager, she could come and commentate. And he said, well, that is totally up to her. Now, Renee, I'm not sure if she's still in a contract with WWE, but she was there at All Out Weekend and she did a CM Punk oral sessions, which was great. If y'all get the chance, go listen to that
I'm
oral
excited.
session. Renee, it was awesome because they worked the WWE backstage together.
Hmm.
And if it wasn't for Renee, CM Punk would have never done the WWE backstage show. You know, he said it was her pushing him to come and do that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, all we can do is hope and pray that we'll see them soon and they'll be back in the fold with the family. We just gotta wait and
Yep.
see. They're gonna need 3 shows now, right? With all these talent that they got coming in.
Well, also, I'm not sure if everybody's heard the news that um, AEW is going to stop recording Dark at live shows. They're moving Dark to Universal. And I heard that if you happen to be at Universal and they're recording, they'll just open the doors and let you come in and watch. They're not selling tickets for Dark or Dark Elevation at Universal. It's going to be like if you're already at the park, you're more than welcome to come in and watch their tapings. They're going to more concentrate on Dynamite and Rampage, and I'm really hoping Rampage gets a second hour soon. That
Yeah,
somehow TNT can give us a second hour there
they
because
might have to change the timing because starting at 10 p.m. at night on a Friday night, I was questioning that already. Like Friday night at 10 p.m., you want to do a wrestling show, but whatever. It worked
yeah,
out. They're getting the ratings, so people are watching even that late. I just don't know if people are going to stick around till midnight on a Friday night to watch it. That's what I don't know.
yeah. I think Tony's having the issue and TNT's having the issue of stepping on Vince's toes. You know, because SmackDown is Friday 8 to 10, but as soon as SmackDown's over, everybody's jumping to AEW. So we'll take what we can get, you know?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see a head-to-head war. Maybe I could be wrong, but I don't see a head-to-head going on again. I don't see a Monday Night War. I don't see a Friday Night War happening. I just don't see it. But I could be wrong. I would love to. I would love it if that happened. If they went to move to Monday nights, and right now the ratings of Raw. I think the last rating that I saw they were on 1.2, 1.5 around there. So AEW can catch up, and as they start building more momentum, they probably will.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time. Are they ready to go head to head? I don't know. Not yet. Maybe another year or two.
Yeah. I think we could take I think AEW could take WWE, but there's still them. I mean, the thing about it with what I realized was like next week, WWE Friday Night SmackDown is in Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden holds 23,000 people. Next week, AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite is at Arthur Ashe Stadium. That holds 23,000 plus. So, I don't know how I know Arthur Ashe has already sold out
Mhm.
according to reports. And they ain't even been a match announced for that, you
Wow.
know? We won't know, like just like All Out sold out and there really wasn't guaranteed matches set, you know? So AEW is getting there. They're building. And
Exactly.
then we do have the best women's champ ever, DMD.
Yes, we love her. We love Dr. Britt Baker.
And I'm glad that AEW stretches out the title runs because I don't want to see her just have it for this little bit of time and then somebody take it. I knew Chris Statlander wasn't going to take it, but I love Chris Statlander. She's our favorite alien, you know? Um, I do love her, and I give her props for that match. But in the end, I wanted to see Britt hold that belt up again, you know? And I want to keep seeing Britt hold that belt up. And I'm really worried about this Jamie Hayter lady. I really hope. I really hope and pray that she doesn't just turn on Britt. But the way the wrestling world works, that's probably what's going to happen.
These are the storylines that we usually have.
That's the
People
storylines
on
that
it.
we're used to. So TK could turn us a whole different swerve and just let them be pals and buddies and keep it that way. And I would be happy that way.
What I would love to see is more DMD in other companies. So I would love to see her in New Japan or Impact or anywhere. I would love to see her expand, you know. So that would be really cool.
Well, the thing I was crossing my fingers and hoping and praying, please let the Joker of the women. I'm glad it was Ruby Soho. Ruby Soho deserves to be with AEW. She deserves to be happy. You can tell in the media scrum afterwards, she is genuinely happy to be in AEW. They get creative control. You know, they get to
Oh.
give their inputs. So but I was crossing my fingers and hoping it would have been Deanna Perrazzo
Mm,
from Impact
hmm.
because Britt has dropped her name many times over the last couple of months. Who would you love to work with, Britt? Deanna Perrazzo. Even Saturday at FanFest, it was FanFest and it was a question and answer, panel. Mark Henry, um, let's see, Darby, Britt, Mark Henry, Christian, and let the audience ask some questions. And somebody asked her again, who would you love to work with, run a program, run a storyline with? And she said, I ain't got but one thing to say. And she said, Deanna Perrazzo. So I would love to see the virtuoso come and face Britt. Although she'd have to lose and let Britt raise that belt again. I mean, I would love to see that be a title for title. You know what I mean? And let Britt be Britt two belts.
Two belts.
Two belts, Britt.
Brit two belts. It was really cool seeing on Impact when she was facing Deanna was facing Melina, and Melina's with the NWA, the National Wrestling. Is it Association Alliance? I always forget what it is. NWA, but
Yeah.
she's wrestling there because Mickey James got her in there.
Mm-hmm.
Good friends with Mickey James, and Mickey James, after she left the WWE, got hired on as their board of directors, or something like that. I don't remember, but she's in charge at NWA, so she's able
And
to bring a lot of her friends like Melina. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Melina or not. She was with Miz and Morrison. Was it Miz and Morrison? No, it was the Miz and somebody else. It starts with the M. I forget his name right now. But they were called like Eminem. It was like Miz.
oh,
It was
okay.
Miz. It wasn't Miz. It was Morrison and somebody else with Melina. So they called it Eminem. This was probably back in the early 2000s that they were always a tag team together. That's how she really got her fame. Was through tagging with them and learning the craft with them with those guys. Then she was released a few years back and she kind of disappeared and went off the map. This is an update on Melina. So she went off the map, but she's back now in the NWA. And luckily, because the forbidden doors are open now we have the NWA people showing up at Impact and vice versa. And that's really exciting to see all the talent going back and forth, and it's really cool. Not even, mostly it was the males, the guys, and now finally they're starting to do it with the females.
Yes, and the NWA did the Empower.
Hmm.
Now that was an amazing show. All women's pay-per-view. That was amazing. I have to give Mickey James props on putting that together.
That was her
And
idea.
then, yes, and then the other Mission Pro Wrestling is all women.
Oh,
And
nice.
Thunder Rosa has a lot to do with that. So I was like, okay, how is this going to work? And then now Thunder Rosa's all elite, but she still didn't cut her ties with the Mission Pro, And I'm waiting to see that build
Hmm.
from Mission Pro. They've been coming to AW. The Some of the women that you see on Dark and Dark Elevation against Ty Conti or Nyla are coming from Mission Pro, you know. Um, so I would love to. and we got to AEW has to build our women a little more, but I think AEW could even have an all women's pay-per-view at some point.
I would hope so too. I think it'll happen sooner than later. I hope they don't wait too long. Like the WWE waited too long. They had their Evolution. It was the first female all women's pay-per-view. They did it once and never again. Maybe
Never
twice.
again.
Maybe twice. I can't remember right now. Maybe twice. But after that, they never did it again. And I'm like, what? You're supposed to be empowering these wrestlers, and you're not. You're taking opportunities away. So.
Yep.
Well, that's enough of WWE. My soapbox, WWE. Except I do have one thing that I want to throw in. We can get more into WWE later because I know AEW is our baby. We love AEW, right? But one thing with WWE that I saw real quick was that in October they actually have they made a deal with Netflix, and in October they have some kind of horror movie or interactive show coming out with WWE. And it's called Chase the Undertaker or Find the Undertaker, something around those lines, like Chasing the Undertaker or Escape. Actually, it's Escape the Undertaker. That's what it's called. So that's going to be really cool. It's on Netflix. It'll come out in October, and it should be interactive, so you can select different options for the characters to do. So that should be cool.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah.
That's one of the fun things that they're doing. I don't think I have anything that stands off the top of my head right now, newsworthy wise. Besides that. I saw Raw. It was boring. I'm sorry. It was bad. It was boring.
Well, I don't watch them when they're on. I record them, SmackDown and Raw, so that I can go back and hit that fast forward button, because who wants to see Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre again?
Mm-hmm.
And who won't, and then Bobby Lashley's running the story. Now Bobby Lashley at MVP are going to go against RK Bro for the tag team titles. Now I'm really digging the RK Bro. I like Riddle, and I've always liked Randy Orton. So kind of digging that. And then of course the man is back, but I did not appreciate that Becky left her belt with Asuka to go have the baby, come back after building and building and building Bianca Belair, and she beat her in 26 seconds. I was livid about that. That was not cool. They could have had a good 20-minute, solid 20-minute match. I don't know what happened there, but I don't like that. And I hope, and it was announced on Friday Night SmackDown that Becky versus Bianca will be at Extreme Rules.
Oh, okay. So that should be interesting.
They have to sign a contract this coming Friday for WWE, this coming Friday Night SmackDown. It's the Becky Bianca contract signing. Brock Lesnar's going to be back. And then there's something with Edge and Seth Rollins. I don't remember. I hit the fast forward button through that too, because
There's the
I'm over Seth Rollins and his drip and whatever.
They went really weird with this Messiah route. It got a little weird. I guess it was just something to do now that he doesn't have Dean Ambrose around. And now that Roman Reigns is the top dog, head of the table on Raw. So we'll see. We'll see. But I am sick of Brock Lesnar. I cannot stand Brock Lesnar. He's a great human being. I've heard great things about him. Whatever. I don't want to watch him anymore. I'm tired of seeing him. I'm sick of seeing him. Every time I see him, I'm sick of him.
Well, what I want to see, and this is just throwing it out there. Big E still has that Money in the Bank briefcase. I want to see Brock taking Roman out, maybe Big E run in and get after Brock done wore himself out, taking Roman, Big E take it. If they would do it didn't they do that with Seth years ago?
They've always done that kind of storyline.
Yeah. I would love to see Big E end up with the SmackDown Championship. Bobby Lashley, I'd love to see him either take that one. It doesn't matter. Bobby Lashley is overrated too, in my book.
See, that's where I have to disagree with you there. I do like Bobby Lashley. I think Bobby Lashley is incredible. He's physical on the mic. Okay, that's why he's not a champion by himself. That's why he's got a mouthpiece. On the mic, he's not that great, but in the ring, he is amazing. And I like his style more than I like Brock Lesnar's, I should say. Honestly.
Yeah, I will give Bobby that credit over Brock, because Brock is a come in, bam, 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 done.
Yeah.
And then he's just gonna F5 you 25 times. So did you see what he did to poor Cena?
What's that?
Did you see what he did to poor John Cena at the end of the last pay-per-view? It wasn't.
I didn't see it, no, but I read
Yeah,
about
it wasn't on air or whatever. But he F5 John Cena because that was John Cena's last match, and he was going on to go back to his movie career or whatever. He F5'd him, I think, 17 times. Right? I'm like, John Cena, you can't see him now for real.
17 F5s after the show is already done. What is the purpose?
Yes, exactly. The cameras were not rolling to be like on the pay-per-view. It was just for the crowd there and people recording, and that's how I've seen it, like on YouTube and stuff. And I'm like, was he trying to kill him? I mean, he was like, he came back for the summer to give Vince the ratings and, to help. And I appreciate that John Cena came back to help Vince do that, because he will always be one of Vince's top guys,
Of course. And I terrible, honestly, for Alexa Bliss, who's reusing a character that it's kind of like, it's cute, but that's it. Like, she's not scary anymore. She's not wild and crazy. It's weird. She's in a weird spot. She either needs to go back to her regular Alexa Bliss, or leave. I mean,
I like I like the twisted dark Alexa, because when she showed up in the ring the other night, Monday night, and she's in Charlotte's head, because Charlotte was like, yeah, she had the doll. I love this gimmick with Alexa, but I would ultimately love to see her raise the belt. But I have heard that Alexa asked for her release, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there.
Oh man, well, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I think she's gonna run with this whole gimmick, if anything, to screw over Bray Wyatt a little bit more, because he can't really show up with the Fiend character in AEW. So I don't know what he's gonna show up as or what it's gonna look like and be. But if it's anything like the Fiend character, it's already used. It's like Vince is kind of laughing in his tower right now, like, haha, you can't do anything, and I have Alexa Bliss still using your character anyway. Yeah. So
True that.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I just know it's still using that character when he's not even around. The whole purpose of Dark Alexa was to aid Bray, and now that he's not around,
I have my own theories of how Bray Wyatt's coming into AEW. There's a rift in the Dark Order. I think they're going to keep on with that storyline. Let the rift continue. We all know Bray is not available until the end of October with his 90 days non-compete. So I'm thinking he's going to come in and help us fix the Dark Order. But I hope they don't just beat the crap out of each other from now until the end, like that last night, that 5 versus Evil Uno match just was heartbreaking. I'm a Dark Order. I raise my hand every time. Join the Dark Order. I met 5 here at our Independence show. He came up, and I'm a big Dark Order supporter, but that last night, watching them just tore me up, because they're family. They're supposed to be family. And then little Brody's supposed to be the leader, and he shuts it down every time, saying that the Dark Order doesn't need a leader. But I'm hoping, with the fact that as close as Brody's family is with Bray Wyatt, that they kind of do the passing of the torch. Me and you talked about that last night. Either go to like a Brody memorial and kind of pass the torch, or let Brody Lee Jr. give his blessing to be the leader of the Dark Order, and Bray come in and fix the Dark Order. Don't turn the Dark Order all twisted and dark like the Fiend character, but help the Dark Order. Help push number 10, Preston Vance. Push him a little more, push Alan Angels. I get tired of hearing everybody say, shut up, Five, because that's what the Dark Order tells him. Don't beat him down, push him, bring him up, and push Ty a little more. I mean, she needs to be an official Dark Order member. And then now Anna Jay's back, so we get Ty and Anna together. So I love that combo.
Mm-hmm. And we hopefully we'll get some tag team women belts. That'd be great.
And I've read that TK is also working on the trios belt too. So
that's exciting.
Yes. I would have loved to seen the Death Triangle get the first trios belt, but now with Penta and Phoenix tag team champs, that kind of pushes Pac out. So I don't know where this angle's going with him and Andrade, but this match coming up Friday night on Rampage, Andrade versus Pac, it's going to blow the roof off that place, because it should have happened at All Out, and it couldn't because of Pac's travel issues, because he went home to England and he couldn't get back or whatever in time for it. So this Friday night's Rampage is going to be stacked.
And they're probably trying to secure Ric Flair also.
Well, I don't know if anybody watches the vlogs. Ric Flair was there at All Out, and he was on Sammy's vlog yesterday with Marco Stunt. He was doing this. Woo! Marco Stunt. Yeah. It was only just a 30-second clip or something, but he was standing there in the hallway doing this with Marco. Woo!
Yes, I love it. I saw but a week or two ago at the NWA 73 pay-per-view event, showed up and he gave an amazing, beautiful speech. Better than a speech he would have given on a WWE stage, honestly.
Oh yeah. He had the freedom to say what he wanted to say. He wasn't being scripted. Vince is in everybody's ear. Vince scripts everything down to the T. So, I mean, that's my opinion on WWE. I've seen the way wrestling can be with AEW because of the creative freedom. And like CM Punk says, we all sit down in a room and we throw in ideas around, and one may stick. They may all be crap ideas. And then somebody have something and somebody have something, and we take something from this and this and this and this, and we come up with a phenomenal promo or a phenomenal match, So I love the fact that they're all, whoever's involved in the match or promo or whatever, are sitting around throwing ideas out there and getting their voices heard. And then they put it together and have what we see on TV,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree. And I think that, it's great to have writers because you want everybody to shine. So you have to find the people that can help them shine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, and I think that's what it is. I think AEW, with having all the different people available and the sounding boards between each other, that collaborative environment really helps them with that. Whereas Vince is just like, I just want writers, give me the writers. This is what I pay for. And I just say yes or no at the end of the day. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, tonight we're going to have a stacked Dynamite also. I don't know if y'all have seen any of the card. We get Moxley versus Suzuki Minoru.
Yes.
And he showed up, the pop that he got. I mean, like Moxley said, I blew that forbidden door wide open. So let him come. Mox wants to fight all of Japan. So bring him on.
Mm-hmm. And Do you know anything much about Suzuki? I know just surface information about Suzuki. I've never actually seen him wrestle, but I know who he is. I'm familiar with his name. Do you know more about him?
No. When he popped up, I'm like, who is that? And started looking and Googling. I've heard that name and I've heard Kenny talk about him. I've heard Mox and everybody talk about him and say that he is the one. If they had their pick and could get him over here to wrestle him, he would be the one they wanted. I mean, they liked the Tanahashi guy that came and all that, but the ultimate one was Suzuki Minoru. So here he is tonight. We get to see him live on TV against my man Moxley.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I know he's a massive New Japan legend. Um,
Yes.
a lot of people like him. He's very popular. Even, I know a lot of people in WWE are aware of him and they like him too. So he's a world renowned guy. I'm glad he's getting some time on AEW and getting to be recognized now worldwide with this audience. So it's very exciting for him.
They're calling him the crazy grandpa.
Wasn't that Luther?
I don't know. And then tonight we also get to see Ruby Soho in her first match in AEW against Jamie Hayter. I don't know if y'all had seen that announced. I seen that announced as soon as I got up this morning. I'm like, because at first they said Ruby Soho will make her Dynamite debut next Wednesday on Dynamite. And then this morning it's now Ruby Soho is not just cutting a promo, she's wrestling Jamie Hayter.
Mhm.
And then we get Dustin versus Malachi Black. Who are you with that? Where are you staying with that one?
I love Dustin. I mean, I'm a big Goldust fan. This is WWF days, right? 90s. When he was wearing the wig and sitting in the corner, and Marlena, right? Marlena Terry Runnels. I love Marlena. She's amazing. I would do anything to see her show up on TV today. Anything to see Terry Runnels show up. It won't happen because her and Dustin, they've got I don't know if they have a bad relationship now, but I know they had a pretty bad divorce
Yeah,
maybe like 10 or 20 years ago. Really bad divorce, and I
really
don't
bad.
sense. So I don't think we'll see her in AEW, but what I love to, of course, I would love to see Marlena on TV, Terry Runnels. But yeah, I'm going for Goldust. I don't think he's gonna win, Dustin. I think Malachi is gonna get the win. He's probably gonna destroy him, like leave blood everywhere. There's gonna be a bloodbath.
I
That's what
don't know if I don't know if everybody's seen it, but last night Cody posted just a picture on Instagram of Stardust.
exciting.
So I'm wondering, is Stardust going to be the one to have to come back to beat Malachi Black and shut him down for good? Because Malachi Black has now went through the Nightmare family. He started with Cody, Lee Johnson, now Dustin, and then the end game is going to be Cody. And I'm thinking they may stretch this out and play this out until Full Gear. Full
Mhm.
Gear will be November 13th, our next pay per view for AEW. So they may stretch out this Malachi Black, Cody. But if he comes back as Stardust, I give up.
Don't give up. It's fun. The little nostalgic thing is what it is. He's honoring his own history in a way. I mean, he spent a lot of time at Stardust. He really did.
Yeah.
And he got injured, and then he came back, even when he was Stardust too. So he's got a deep history with Stardust. And I thought he didn't like Stardust. I thought he actually hated Stardust, didn't he?
I thought he did too. That's my whole thing about it was when they first come out with AEW and the fans would chant Stardust, like Chris Jericho said, that was creative and that was the old gimmick and it sucked. Remember about the We the People? How Chris
Mm-hmm.
Jericho that people were chanting We the People for Hager.
Yep.
That was creative and it sucked and we don't like it. And Cody said the same thing about Stardust. But then last night he posted that picture of him dressed as Stardust. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, I think it'll be a cute little throwback. Why not?
But
I don't think it's gonna
here's
stick
the
with.
thing. The thing with Cody, he promised his fans he would never turn heel. So, and I'm thinking
Horrible
for
promise.
him,
Way.
do what?
Horrible. That's a horrible promise to make.
Well, I get it because of the way Vince did Cody. I mean, I get it. And then he's built up his fan base. And I mean, I had a little kid. I was at the homecoming show in Daly's Place at the beginning of August. Malachi Black come out. They had their match. Cody took off his boot and started talking. And I'm doing the yes chants. Yes, yes, yes. Because I thought he was going to retire. Everybody else is going, no, no, no. I turn around and I see this little kid behind me crying, and I just stop because he's built up his fan base, and I have to appreciate that. I have to give him that. But when he said on Dynamite Homecoming show, my face is all over everything, I'm like, yeah, you know, let some of the other talent from from AEW have a spotlight, not just Cody, not just the Bucks, and not just Kenny. I mean, I get that they're EVPs and that they brought us AEW and they helped form what AEW is today, but let's build up other talent too, you know?
Hmm. See, I originally I thought this whole the elite, bringing the elite into AEW and bringing all that up was to eventually bring the Bullet Club in, because we know the Bullet Club has a wide reach. They're like the New World Order of today, you know, the
Yeah.
NWO of today. So they have a wide reach. They're in independent shows. They're in New Japan. They're in Ring of Honor. They're in everywhere. You name it, and they're there, except WWE. Kind of. Kind of. Uh, you'd have to ask AJ how he feels about AJ Styles. How he feels about,
I would
but
love to see Tamatonga and all them come to AEW and wrestle, not
and
just on a dark match, you know, put them on Dynamite.
yeah, and that's why I thought they were actually doing the open door so they could bring in the Bullet Club angle, but they haven't really done that yet. So I'm a little bit confused, but I'm hanging in there.
Yeah. But like Tony says, just stick with us and it'll all work out. He stretches stuff out, so it'll all work out. So we may see Bullet Club united again.
Mhm.
Wouldn't that be something?
I want to say the closest they've come to it is with Anderson and Luke Gallows being in AEW, and they were in the Bullet Club. They're not now; they're out of the Bullet Club now.
Yeah.
But that was the closest that we got to it, was when they showed up in AEW, even though they were the Impact champions. The TNA Impact is the same thing. For those of you who are not aware, TNA has changed its name to Impact. You can Google
Yeah.
it. History there. Yeah. So TNA is now officially Impact, and that's what it's being called. And I'm glad that they actually went away from that because I hated the TNA name personally.
Yeah. And when Christian won the Impact and TNA belts from Kenny, he went on Impact and retired the TNA belt.
Thank you.
So to make it just be Impact, that's why you don't see him with two belts. Although he won two belts, he went to Impact and they did like a retirement for the TNA belt. So he's just the Impact champion.
Just the Impact. Yep. So I'm glad that it's just Impact now.
Yeah.
But the Impact does have Impact Wrestling does show Bullet Club members. So if you do want some Bullet Club, oh hello. Okay, so now we have Christian Cage, who he's won both the TNA title and the Impact Championship. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with the history a little bit here, but TNA was another organization that started right after WCW folded back in 2001. I think TNA started maybe right at 2002. Are we still together? Sharonica, are
Yeah,
you there?
yeah,
Okay,
I'm here.
just double checking. So with the title, with the company, it eventually changed the name from TNA, Total Nonstop Action, to Impact Wrestling. And obviously for obvious reasons, the word TNA is kind of, has sexual connotations to it. So they wanted to get away with that, and I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they changed their name from TNA to Impact. And Christian Cage actually was able to get those titles from Kenny Omega. He got the TNA title and the Impact title from Kenny Omega. And Sharonica, you were mentioning how Christian Cage showed up on Impact and then retired the TNA title. So
Yeah,
TNA is official.
as soon as he won from Kenny, the next Impact taping or show that they had, he was on, and they did the big thing about retiring the belt. So now it's just you just see Christian with just the Impact title. He won 2 titles from Kenny, but he retired the TNA belt, and now he's just the Impact champion. And then Kenny has the other belt.
Yeah. So essentially, TNA is dead now, thankfully.
Yeah. Thank
And it's
God.
just thank God. Now it's just Impact Wrestling, and Impact does have a lot of they feature a lot of wrestlers from other companies too. So I know right now they have some New Japan wrestlers coming in, such as Finn Juice. They're a tag team.
Oh, I love Finn Juice.
Finn Juice. They're amazing, and so they come from New Japan. They're contracted to New Japan right now, but they are working in Impact still. Doing what they do here in Impact. So it's great. Again, it's good to see that open door and that talent exchange between all these companies happening, except WWE.
Yeah. WWE should be the forbidden door, not
Is the real
kick down the forbidden door, because that's the real forbidden door. I mean, in my opinion, and I know it might make people mad saying that, but WWE is the forbidden door because everything else is open. And Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore and the New Japan guys and everybody are seemingly working together to give us
Oregon.
real professional wrestling, not sports entertainment.
Yeah, definitely. And GCW, I wanted to just go into that since we're talking about other companies real quick. GCW is Game Changer Wrestling. I don't know how long they've been around for. I think they've been around for a long time. But they're just now starting to get more recognition because of John Moxley and Zack Ryder, who he's
Matt
using
Cardona, his name's not Zack Ryder. That was Listen, Daniel, that was WWE gimmick and that was WWE creative, and it sucked. He's
Yep.
Matt Cardona.
Mr. Matt Cardona. Yep, and he's been killing it on in Impact and GCW and around everywhere he goes. He's been killing it. And Chelsea Green, his wife as well. She's also wrestling in all these companies as well. I think she wasn't she in AEW a few weeks back? I thought I saw her wrestle a
She
match.
was, she was there. She didn't wrestle. Chelsea Green hasn't wrestled. No.
Oh, okay. So she was just She was just on screen, but not.
Her and Britt are best friends and tight. So, like Adam Cole said, he had been to many AW events because of Britt, but now they get to go to work together. You know.
So cool. That is so cool. I'm jealous.
But Mox showed up Saturday night. They had a War Games type match for GCW, and it was Cardona was in there, but Mox showed up and he was dressed in all black and had a hood over his head and everything. And you could kind of tell because Mox has that walk. I'm like, that my boy, that's my man. And he hit him with he hit Matt Cardona with a DDT. And then he stood up, and the way he stood up and the way Mox always jumps right back up and all broad, and the way he stood, and then he ripped off the mask, that place went nuts. I had friends there, and they were all telling me, I'm surprised that place even has a roof left because of the fact that he pinned Matt Cardona. He took the belt from Matt Cardona. Then Nick Gage comes out and says, what are you doing here? This is my territory. Go back to AEW or go back to New Japan or go do whatever else you're going to do. And Mox said, well, you want this title? Here it is. Tell me when and where. So now they have their next pay-per-view for GCW in October, Mox versus Nick Gage. Now, when that happens, they need to be outside because the building might not be standing because that GCW crowd, they get crunk.
Yep.
MDK all day. I mean, all the videos I've seen from GCW and people being there, that crowd is on fire.
And there's a lot of stars in GCW, or a lot of AEW stars who actually started out in GCW. I know that. Like Marco Stunt is one of them, who was a ring sweeper, and all of a sudden a top star.
He just had a match not too long ago in Vegas with GCW. Marco, and I mean Marco. There was somebody else too. Who else?
When I see them, I recognize them. I'm like, wait, they started here.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It's really cool to see that crossover still in all angles, from all angles. One of the people that I see a lot in different promotions is, and he's an Impact now, is T.J. Perkins. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. T.J. Perkins.
Not
He
really.
wrestled in WWE. He left them maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. He left the WWE. He was in NXT for a long time, and then he got released. Now he's in Impact, killing it in Impact, and he's in MLW. I think he's also been in GCW. I can't remember also, but I see him in a lot of different places. I haven't seen him in AEW yet, but keep your eyes peeled for TJ Perkins in AEW. I'm pretty sure he'll make his way around.
Now, have you seen that? Not last night's show of NXT. It was still the black and gold logo. Next week's NXT is all colorful with the paint splotches, but you do need to remember, give NXT a chance, but Bruce Pritchard and Vince took over creative of NXT. So we may still be seeing the same type of stuff we see on SmackDown and Raw, but I'm going to give NXT a chance next week. I'm actually going to set it and record it if I have to work or whatever, and just see how the new format comes about and what's going on there. Because, I mean, Triple H did great with NXT, and I have to give Paul props on that, because NXT was Triple H's baby. And then now I think Vince has come down on him and took more control of it to make it more like Raw and SmackDown, which is sad for him. So if he could ever break free from Vince, which I don't see it happening ever, but if he could break free of Vince and come to AEW, that would be a game changer.
That would change that would change everything.
The landscape would be changed forever. Especially the way Cody come out and broke the throne. Remember that back at the Double or Nothing first, and he's the throne breaker. I got the figure here somewhere. The throne breaker shirt. I'm like, oh, yep.
Oh man. Now, the thing about the oh man, I'm sorry. I had a brain fart right now. I had an idea and it just left my brain. So never mind. Disregard. The AEW colors. The NXT colors. The NXT colors, as soon as I saw it, I said they're ripping off AEW. Those are AEW colors that I have seen them use before. So I've seen that theme, I've seen that color, and it's with AEW, and they're blatantly ripping off of AEW, and I don't appreciate that at all. It shows no creativity. I'm not looking forward to watching NXT, even less now. I'm glad that you're excited. I'm not. I feel like they're completely ripping off of AEW, trying to be like AEW 2.0 or something. I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they changed their colors, because as you see, we are the black and gold. We did kind of take from them, I guess, with the black and gold. And I guess that may be why he changed it, because of the fact that people are getting us confused with NXT and AEW, people that don't know. And the fact that CM Punk come back after 7 years, wrestling has grabbed a hold different people. You know what I mean? There's people that haven't watched wrestling in 7 years coming back to watch wrestling now because of CM Punk.
And we have
So
new fans like John. Also, he's a brand new AEW fan. He started watching it, so hopefully he can continue to enjoy it with us and follow it along with us.
yeah, I've been an OG from day one. Mm-mm. I'm so glad that I've stuck with him because I I tried to watch. Let's see, back in 2019, I gave a WWE. No, 2018, before AEW was brought out for us to actually enjoy weekly. I was watching Raw and SmackDown every time it come on. I was, Finn Balor. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed seeing Malachi Black, which he was Aleister Black. I've seen his debut. I went to a Raw show in Atlanta early 2019 and really enjoyed myself. But um AEW has showed me more fun. They've made me laugh, they've made me scream, they've made me cheer, they've made me cry. Cause
Yeah.
like when we were there for the June 30th show and they were saying goodbye, when that video popped up for everybody to see, I sat back down in my chair and I cried like a baby. I couldn't even watch the video.
The
It's gonna
final,
make me cry
final
just thinking about it. I sat down and I just buried my head and I just cried because they were leaving Daly's place. And I enjoyed that every week, every other week. Every time fans were there, allowed to be there, I was there. Take my money, that's the way I felt. Here, take my money. It gave
year.
me, it gave me like I work all week and be all, in your daily life. I got to go to Daly's place and scream at men and women for 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, and get it all out. So I enjoyed that.
That's amazing. I'm so glad that you got that opportunity. I wish more people would have been able to get that opportunity. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, they had to make the choice to be at the dailies for a little bit. Hopefully, they don't have to do it again. Um,
Yes.
but we'll
I
see. I
don't
think
want them. I don't, now that the momentum is going for AEW and Cole is there and Brian Danielson is there and CM Punk is there, I want them to keep going. I want them to just build and build and build. I cannot wait for that New York show. That New York show, we may not get Santana and Ortiz versus FTR because I really think that that was the last match for FTR that we just seen last week. Because Cash really hurt his arm. I mean, that was a freak accident, nobody's fault, but the nerve damage in his arm, I think that was the last match we will see for FTR. But I was really hoping that Santana and Ortiz, that the Bucks could hold the belts until New York, and Santana and Ortiz take the belts. When I met them at Daly's Place June 26th, we talked about that. And Santana said, just simmer down, just simmer down. He said, be patient. He said, you know how we are, just be patient. Just stick with us, don't give up on us. And I really think they were trying to build for the FTR Santana and Ortiz feud to go a long ways, but then he got hurt. So I think they shut that one down. And I'm calling it now. I think next week we won't see. I don't think we'll see the Lucha Brothers defend tonight. I'm calling their first tag team title defense might be in New York against Santana and Ortiz. And I really hope they don't change belts so quick. I love that AW lets us hold our belts for a minute. Although Santana and Ortiz are my boys, my inner circle squad, I would love to see them with gold, but don't take it from Penta and Ray Phoenix this quick, you know?
it was so nice seeing all of them back together, the inner circle when Chris Jericho won, when he beat
Yes.
F. It was so nice seeing them reunited. we haven't seen them together in a while like that.
It was so good to see Chris Jericho make MJF tap. I mean,
Yes.
we went through weeks of crap from MJF. I mean, Nick Gage cutting Chris's head with the pizza cutter, Wardlow. I
And
just
the Domino's Pizza Gate.
I was fed up with MJF's crap, and I'm so glad. I cannot wait to see what happens tonight because, of course, they'll say something about it. He's going to have some. He. I have to give it to MJF. He is the best heel in professional wrestling. Period. He never leaves. He even meeting him on the streets and meeting him at his meet and greets. You pay to meet him, you're going to be treated like that. You're going to be treated just like you see on TV. He does not change. So be prepared if you ever pay to meet or ever get the chance to meet and greet MJF. He does not change. He did cut a promo on a guy in a wheelchair and was awful to this dude, but this dude paid him to do it. So they wanted him to be true heel MJF, and MJF is a true heel. I will give him that, but that is all I will give him. I do not like him. I cannot stand him. I wish Chris Jericho would have broke his leg and took him out for just a little bit. Just make that little weasel shut up, because we've heard him week in and week out with these labors of Jericho and the Pinnacle and all, But like Sammy said, now that the Pinnacle and Inner Circle, he said on his vlog yesterday at the very end on his outro, now that the Pinnacle and Inner Circle feud is over, that he's going to go on to bigger and better things. I see Sammy coming for the TNT belt because of Miro messing with Fuego. And Fuego is his best friend. So I kind of see Sammy maybe building a story with Miro. And I would love that. I would love to see Sammy raise that belt and be the TNT champ,
That would be awesome. And I can see matches where they throw in Fuego, like 2 versus 1, Fuego and him versus Miro.
Yes. Now that Fuego is a contract and he is.
Yeah. Exciting.
Yes.
So exciting.
I tell you what, Cody's birthday, that was the June 30th match, if I'm not mistaken. Afterwards, when they brought the cake out and stuff, and we were all there at Daly's place, Cody said, I have a wish for my birthday. And he goes, and it's not San Fuego, the booze that he got. And then Aubrey was like, well, why? He's right here. Because Fuego was always the extra talent around the ring right there. So he said, he's here. Get him in the ring. And I said, oh, God. I started losing it because I was there live. I was like, my hair on my arms were standing up. Like, is he really fixing to give him the contract now? But it was even better. They brought the cake out. Aaron Solo and QT Marshall come and interrupted. And he hit the tornado. I got to see Fuego hit the tornado DDT on Aaron Solo. And that was the highlight of my everything. Of all the pandemic, I enjoyed seeing him get him that, And when Tony came out and gave him the contract, I was just like, oh, that just the icing on the cake, He worked hard during the pandemic. He showed up every week, flew himself there every week, shared the room with Sammy because he couldn't get his own hotel room, He was there. He was ready to just be called. His presence was there, and all he needed was Tony to say, hey, I need you for a match. Such and such can't come. We're going to book you in a match, He was there even when he didn't have matches, We would go to Daly's place and he's there, and the pop that Fuego got, and the signs that would pop up, Sign Fuego and Fire Nation and Tornado DDT signs. And,
I saw those signs, yeah. Were you holding up one?
Yes, of course. I got my Fuego sign.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps us up since we've been talking a bit now, but we want to thank you for joining us on Let's Talk Wrestling, covering a lot of AEW, some of WWE, some of the indies. But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that I'm very grateful to this organization because there's people that their careers are being made. You know, new guys like you said, Fuego. And older people like Melina might show up and her career might go crazy. And they have brought people back like Tajiri, not Tajiri, sorry. Tajiri is coming back. That's another great thing. But he's coming back to MLW. But if it wasn't for AEW being around, Tajiri would not be wrestling right now. So that's great that again people have opportunities now more than they ever have, and it's all because of AEW. So I definitely support them fully for that reason. I will continue to support them fully. WWE, I still enjoy WWE, but I would hope that eventually most of their roster will probably make it over to AEW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, now I know we've had a lot of fun talking about AEW and WWE and the whole wrestling world, but we do need to make the point that if you are ever feeling down and out and feel like you are alone, you can reach out to any of us. You have friends. There's people out there that care. Do not think that you are alone. I personally was watching the video of Daphne on her Instagram live that night, and she was screaming for help, and nobody could get to her quick enough, and she ended up taking her own life. So we're going to end this with, please reach out. There are 800 numbers, suicide prevention, anybody. And if anybody wants to reach out to me on Facebook, Sharonica Silman. If anybody wants to reach out to me on Instagram, it's AEW All Elite Fanatics, or on Twitter as Sharonica Silman. Y'all can reach out. I'm here for you day or night. Never, never think that you're alone. And we're going to end this with a 10 bell salute to Miss Daphne.